Sometimes in SketchUp you want to make more than one item. So I've got a circle there which I can then extrude to a pillar, but I want to have a series of pillars. Now I could simply select that disk, edit, copy, edit, paste, and I can paste there. I can spend time aligning it. I could draw a grid matrix on my surface, and I could, what can I do? I could, at every intersection of the grid, I put a 1 meter or 5 millimeter disc and delete all the other lines of the matrix, then pull everything up. Like, imagine I've got 2 discs there, I can pull these up, but that's going to take a lot of time, and I'm going to make mistakes. So, I'm going to show you a really easy way to create a whole series, a whole matrix of objects, which without doing much work. So I'm going to start by making a cube. So I'm going to make this a 1 meter by 1 meter cube. Just type 1m, 1m, and pull this up by 1 meter. So that is a nice cube, right? Then I'm going to select the cube with the move tool. I press the Options key on a Mac or the Control key on Windows. Okay, and what this allows me to do is copy items. Now I can take this, I can move it 10 meters, and I've got a copy there. I can do one more thing. If I press 5 /, I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes with 1 meter gap between. And the reason I know it's 1 meter gap between is because that's enough. If you have any cube, 1 meter, cube, 1 meter, cube, 1 meter, you end up with that. So we've copied it across there. I can then take these, move, press Options or Control, move 10 meters, /5, enter. I've got a whole grid of these. I can take all of these, move, Options or Control, and this is where it gets slightly tricky. Make sure I work in the blue axis. There I am. 10 meter, /5. I've made a cube of cubes. I can take this further. Take that cube. Right click, make components. Just keeps it nicely together. Move. Options. And it would be 10 meters, it would be 100 meter. There he is. Divide by 5. Take all of these. Options. 100 meters. /5. Take all of these. Options or Control. It's going to be very tricky because we're using a lot of processing power. Actually, I think we've got to the point where there's so many things going on, the computer can't handle it. But I'll try one more time. Move. Options. 100 meters. Yes, /5. So we have a incredibly massive, complex matrix here. Now, if you've got enough computing power, you can keep going, going, going. Now, I'm making this video on a top-of-the-line Intel i7 MacBook Pro. It's got solid-state hard drive. This is the fastest computer, fastest laptop at least, Apple make. It's a beautiful machine. And you can see that the frame rate has dropped significantly because we're trying to simulate a really complex load of items. When you look at this, look at the amount of detail in there. Trying to do that without the copy and array would be very difficult. So that is the basic copy and array tool using move command. Sometimes you might not want to do something on a vertical or horizontal plane, but at a diagonal, so at an angle. So what I've done here is I've created a series of steps and a column. Now this column I created, I've right-clicked and made it into a component because it makes it nice and easy to select. So that's the whole thing done. I could of course do something very simple, such as drawing a column there and then extruding it up, or even up, but that's not how I want to do it. So I'm going to use this one I've made here, move it into position, so from the bottom, and place it just there. Now, I want to have the column at that place on every step. So, select him, move command, press Option on a Mac and Control on Windows. And we're talking about relative points here. So, relative to that point, I want to be the same distance from there, so I can click there. /4 and enter. Now the reason why I said /4 and not /3 is because there's 4 relative gaps between the two. You can think of it as how many you want plus 1. That's an easier way to think about things. So I've now created there, nice and easy. And of course I can do this again. I can select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, move, and with the options key, move it along. Although what I did then was try it freehand, didn't work too well, so I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but this time I'm going to make sure I'm on the axis, so press options and point along that green axis, not what I did before, which is down there, but along the green axis to there. So I've now created a run of columns down some steps. So if you're making a very posh mansion, this could be a great way to do it. So we're going to take the idea of copying and arrays to a higher level now. I've created this, which looks a bit like an amphitheatre, and a column, which again I right-clicked and said Made Component. So what can we do? So first off, I'm going to move this to the top. So select the underside, the centre point, just goes there, and move it up to top here. Actually, it's the wrong place. Never mind, it can be a bit tricky. So there we have it on face. That's cool. I'm going to move it slightly to the right, so it is more or less on the red axis. Not essentially do this, but it's kind of nice. So we know we can do this quite easily by using the copy array tool. So select the item, select move, press options or control on a PC. Set the edge there, select the edge at the bottom, which is about there, and say 3 /3. Okay, so we've got that more or less in a straight line along there. So that's nice. Now, this is where it gets really fun. We can select these 3, select the rotation tool. So first thing we need to do is describe the axis. So are we talking about rotating it around like this, or a different angle altogether? So quite simply, we go on the red line, so that we're talking about this. Right. And what we do now is we press the command key again, so we're talking about copying. We need to give it an angle. I'm going to say 10 degrees. Okay, so we've done that, 10 degrees. This is where another command is, which says, do this again this many times. Now, obviously a circle has 365 degrees in it. And if we do this 36 more times, we're all the way around. So, 36x, press enter, and there we have it. We have created this kind of monstrosity of a hairbrush, which has put them exactly spaced all the way around. Now you'll notice that the distance between the columns at the front will be slightly smaller than those at the rear, because obviously as the radius increases, you need to increase distance. And you can see it a bit clearer when you look straight on. It does fan out. Now, you could do this manually. You could do it by drawing grids and cutting and intersecting lines and doing all kinds of things. It would be very tedious and for taking a very long time to do. So that is how to do rotational copying. And also we've added another command, which is number x. So do this many times, so 36x. And of course, just like before, we can select this, make component, create, and we can do a copy to the side. And let's say do this 3x, 3 more times, 3 times total. So that is 3 totals there. And the thing about it is the got 1 extra, the 3x is how many extra things we like. And doing this any other way would take you a long time. Let's do some more rotation, shall we? So we've got 1, 2, 3. Take rotation. Describe our arc. Then we could just rotate it around, which is really cool. We could say leave it there. But press the Options key. And I'm going to say 90 degrees this time. And do that 3x. There we are. Look at that. So we've got a whole load of them. Now we can carry on doing copies and array rotation around, but again you'll see we're starting to lose frame rate, we're starting to be very jittery because this powerful computer is losing the ability. If you're on a lesser machine, and bear in mind this is a very high spec machine, you would find this difficult. Now I'm not even moving the mouse, and the computer's trying to catch up. So be careful with copy and array, you can very quickly become so complex your model you can't deal with it. But that's the name of the game. So copying across in straight lines, copying down diagonals, copying in rotation. / number means between the first point and second point, this many things. And number x, which is do this many times extra.